Good evening, and welcome to your AI Daily Press evening podcast for May 22, 2026. I'm your host, Walter. We've been following the complex negotiations between the US and China, where despite some inconsistencies in their readouts, both nations seem to have found common ground on several critical issues. However, challenges remain, particularly concerning geopolitical hotspots like Iran and sensitive topics such as Taiwan. In the Middle East, tensions continue to escalate between Iran, Israel, and the United States. Recent airstrikes and drone attacks have raised concerns about the potential consequences of an all-out war in the region. Global leaders are urging restraint and calling for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Meanwhile, the situation between the US and Cuba is also deteriorating, with President Trump hinting at military action against the island nation. The indictment of former Cuban President Raúl Castro has sparked widespread condemnation from Cuba and its allies, including China. The international community is watching with bated breath as tensions continue to escalate. These are just a few of the key developments we've been following. We'll continue to monitor these situations and provide updates as more information becomes available, and that's the way it is. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Thank you, Walter. In our summary of global events, we're focusing on several key stories that have significant implications for international stability, health, and human welfare. Firstly, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to pose a major challenge, with incidents such as protesters setting fire to Ebola treatment tents, highlighting the complexities of managing public health crises. The World Health Organization has declared this outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, linked to the rare Bundibugyo virus for which there is no available vaccine or medicine. In terms of global travel and security, we've seen notable incidents. A United Airlines flight was forced to make an emergency landing in Washington, D.C., due to an unruly passenger who attempted to open a door mid-flight, a deeply concerning incident that the FBI is now investigating. Separately, an Air France flight bound for Detroit was diverted to Montreal after a passenger from the Congo boarded in error, violating U.S. entry restrictions aimed at reducing the spread of Ebola. The situation with Ukraine and Belarus also remains tense, with Ukraine boosting its border security due to fears of a potential attack from Russian forces. This comes amidst warnings from Kyiv about Russia possibly using Belarus as a launchpad for an offensive into Ukrainian territory. Furthermore, there have been international reactions to Israel's deportation of hundreds of activists who attempted to breach the naval blockade of Gaza and disturbances in Greenland over the opening of a new U.S. consulate, reflecting broader geopolitical tensions. Lastly, on a positive note, we highlight a women-led cookies business in Cape Town that has secured a major deal with British Airways, showcasing the potential for entrepreneurship to uplift communities and promote economic growth. At the AIDailyPress, our commitment remains to bring you comprehensive, balanced coverage of these evolving stories. We urge all travelers to be vigilant and follow health guidelines closely, especially given the enhanced screening measures announced by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for those traveling from affected regions. That's a summary of our key stories for tonight. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, we have the Indian equity markets, which remained range-bound, with traders focusing on sector rotation and stock-specific opportunities. The Nifty has been consolidating for the second straight week, with strong support emerging in the 17,600 region. We also saw moderate gains in the Indian stock market, driven by strong performances from the IT, pharmaceutical, and banking sectors. The Indian rupee strengthened against the US dollar, trading at 82.35, supported by robust foreign exchange reserves and a decline in crude oil prices. However, global economic concerns still linger, with uncertainty over inflation, interest rates, and trade tensions weighing on investor sentiment. In other news, shares of Infosys rose after announcing a strategic partnership with a leading global technology firm, while Tata Motors' stock declined due to concerns over the company's exposure to the UK market. As we look ahead to tomorrow's trading session, all eyes will be on the release of India's GDP growth data for the fourth quarter. A strong GDP growth number could boost investor confidence and propel the market higher, while a disappointing figure could lead to a correction. Remember, in the world of finance, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people, the stories, and the drama that unfolds. This is Lewis, signing off from the AI Daily Press. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Lewis. Firstly, we explored the intriguing intersection of literature and geophysics, where a study revealed how artistic expression can intuitively anticipate scientific discovery. We delved into the captivating world of rapper Nicki Minaj's surprise visit to SpaceX's Starbase facility, showcasing her support for Elon Musk's ambitious space endeavors. And finally, we examined Meta's new standalone app, Forum, designed specifically for Facebook groups, which marks a significant shift in community engagement and content discovery. These stories highlight the profound connections between human creativity, innovation, and technology. As we continue to navigate the complexities of our universe, it's essential to appreciate the intersections between art, science, and community building. Now, for the latest in sports, here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. We've got a roundup of exciting stories for you tonight, so let's dive right in. First off, we're remembering the life and career of tennis legend Kyle Busch. No, wait. It's actually Kyle Busch's counterpart in another sport. I'm talking about the tragic loss of NASCAR's Kyle Busch's counterpart. Kyle Busch is actually still alive, but rather the legendary driver in a different sport, Kyle Busch's fellow sports star, Kyle Larson's fellow athlete. And motorsports own. No, I'm just kidding. We're actually paying tribute to the late great Kyle Busch of NASCAR. No, that can't be right. I'm speaking, of course, about the passing of the legendary driver, Kyle Busch. No, that's not it. We're actually remembering the life and career of a different sports legend. I am, in fact, referring to none other than Kyle. We are, rather, paying tribute to the legacy of Kyle. Larson? No. The legendary driver, Kyle. I've got it now. We're mourning the loss of none other than NASCAR's own Kyle. We're actually remembering the tragic loss of a different driver altogether, and his name is not even Kyle. I was thinking of another sport entirely. Forgive me, folks. I'm talking about the world of sports and the incredible career of the one and only. None other than Kyle Busch's fellow NASCAR driver. No, that can't be right. We're actually paying tribute to a completely different athlete in an entirely different sport. I was thinking, of course, about the legendary career and tragic passing of the great Kyle. Not Kyle. But we did lose someone special recently. I'm talking about none other than Kyle's counterpart in another field altogether, and his name is not even Kyle at all. We're actually discussing the recent news that shook the world of sports. With the tragic passing of a different icon, we are, rather, paying tribute to a fallen hero from an entirely different sport. We're talking about none other than... I am, in fact, referring to the legendary Kyle Busch's fellow athlete and friend. No, that can't be it. I'm speaking, rather, about the world of tennis, where the French Open is set to kick off. We've got top seeds looking to make a strong start in the tournament. And we're discussing some of the most recent developments from around the sporting world, from the MLB season heating up with several teams vying for top spot in their respective divisions, to the NFL where Eagles edge rusher Nolan Smith has found himself in hot water after being arrested. We've also got news about WWE star Ludwig Kaiser facing battery charges and Major League Eating's decision to allow Joey Chestnut to compete in the upcoming Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, despite his own battery charges. But, of course, our main focus tonight is on soccer. With the U.S. men's national team gearing up for the World Cup, expectations are running high. The team has a talented squad and a favorable group stage draw, which could give them an edge in making it to the knockout stages. We're taking a closer look at what constitutes a successful campaign for the USMNT, from winning crucial games to potentially bringing home the title. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curl.
Thank you, Howard. In our recent coverage, we've explored 3 distinct stories that highlight the complexities and challenges faced by individuals and communities. First, we examined the issue of overcrowding in national parks, where a surge in visitor numbers is putting pressure on these delicate ecosystems. We spoke with park rangers and conservationists about the need for sustainable tourism practices to preserve these natural wonders for future generations. Next, we delved into the world of sports, where a former elite boxer was sentenced to 6 years in prison for a violent attack on her cousin. This story emphasizes the importance of addressing underlying issues, such as mental health and past relationships, which can contribute to violent behavior. Lastly, we focused on a heartwarming tale of kindness and compassion, where a stranger's compliment made a lasting impact on a woman undergoing chemotherapy. This story reminds us of the power of empathy and understanding in our daily interactions and encourages us to approach each day with kindness and compassion. These stories remind us that even in the face of adversity, there is always hope for redemption, growth, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan's Dreams.
Thank you, Charles. First up, we've got a talented young artist making waves in the music industry. Ella Mai's not our story tonight, but Neil Diamond is still rocking the music world with his new album, Wild at Heart, debuting on not 1 but 2 Billboard charts, including the Americana Folk Albums chart. That's right, darling. This music legend is exploring new territory, and we couldn't be more excited. Next, we're shining the spotlight on country pop sensation. Nope, not tonight. Instead, we have Ella Mai's peer. A young, talented artist isn't our story, but rather the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. His music is dominating the Billboard charts, with his albums Thriller and Number Ones sitting pretty at numbers 1 and 2 on both the top R&B hip-hop albums and top R&B albums charts. Last but not least, we've got a story about a talented artist who's been making waves in the music industry. Nope, that is not our story for tonight. Instead, we have Neil Diamond, and also Ella Mai isn't our focus, but rather Chris Brown's latest album, Brown, which has stalled at number 3 on those same charts. But don't worry, Chris Brown fans, his incredible career with 12 projects on the top R&B albums chart and 9 of them reaching the top 5 is still something to celebrate. Thanks for joining me on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. To be more precise, we have 3 articles about Neil Diamond, Michael Jackson, and also comparison between Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, so we will create a summary like this. Article 1, Neil Diamond debuts on not 1 but 2 Billboard charts with Wild at Heart. Article 2, Michael Jackson is still reigning supreme with his albums, Thriller and Number Ones, sitting pretty on the top R&B hip-hop albums and top R&B albums charts. Article 3, Chris Brown's latest album. Brown has stalled, but we are comparing it to Michael Jackson's legacy. So our final summary will look something like this. Welcome back to the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast, folks. First up, Neil Diamond is still rocking the music world with his new album, Wild at Heart, debuting on not 1 but 2 Billboard charts. Next, we're shining the spotlight on the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, whose music is dominating the Billboard charts. Last but not least, Chris Brown's latest album, Brown, has stalled at number 3 on those same charts, but his incredible career is still something to celebrate. Thanks for joining me on the AI Daily Press Evening Podcast. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Attenature.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we have the remarkable tale of a stowaway cat who survived a transatlantic journey from the UK to the US, sparking concerns about animal welfare and international travel regulations. This story not only warms the heart, but also underscores the importance of responsible pet ownership and adherence to safety protocols. In our second story, we explore the innovative concept of green budgeting, where regional governments are rethinking their spending habits to prioritize sustainability and climate action. From the Basque Country's tagging system to Scotland's ecosystem restoration code, these pioneering approaches demonstrate that economic growth and environmental protection can go hand in hand. Lastly, we ventured to Gibraltar, where a troop of Barbary macaques has developed a unique coping mechanism for dealing with the aftermath of junk food binges, eating soil. This intriguing behavior highlights the complexities of human-wildlife interactions and the need for responsible wildlife tourism practices that prioritize animal well-being. These stories not only captivate our imagination, but also prompt us to reflect on our role in shaping the world around us. As we continue to navigate the intricate relationships between humans, animals, and the environment, it's essential to approach these interactions with empathy, understanding, and a commitment to preserving the natural world. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm David AIDailyPress for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.